Okay, hey, hello there everybody, and welcome to International Medical Marijuana Day. Thank you very much for coming out, and thanks for that too. And I'm very happy to be here for what is actually our 15th year of having this sort of low-level grassroots activism on November 15th occur here in Victoria. And I have a number of stories about it to tell you, and there's a few things that are happening here today. And so we're going to be here for a little while, but the second half of today is silent art auction. And for the last 7 years, we've been having this art auction to help raise funds for our work with Hempology 101 and our sister club, the Cannabis Buyers Club of Canada. 15 years ago, the first time we had International Medical Marijuana Day here was actually building off of what had happened in the United States, starting in '93, I guess, in Washington, D.C., and then later on in San Francisco as well in '94. International Medical Marijuana Day was hosted down there, and I started Hempology here in September of '95. And it was very quick that I started to hear about the laws in California that were starting to be considered for medical use, and the club, the San Francisco Cannabis Buyers Club, that Dennis Perron had started up there. And as soon as I started to become an advocate, just start basically doing this, throwing down a blanket and some pamphlets and stuff, and just talking about cannabis and prohibition. People with medical needs just started coming up to me with their stories and asking if they knew where we could get it. So November 15th, 1995, I went before the Victoria City Council and told them that we were going to get together and sign a pact, essentially saying that we were going to help people with serious medical needs. So that really meant we were going to start up a club. I just didn't say it that way. And in January of 1996, we did just that. I just lived in a van at the time. I got a pager and a pamphlet. I barely knew anybody, but I knew what I was doing was a good thing, and it worked quite well. We went from the van to an apartment, which we worked out of for about 5 years before the police actually told me to get a store. And yeah, it was quite bizarre, really. They busted a friend of mine who was selling pot to everybody else in the building downstairs, and so they told me to get a store at that point. Ironically, it's easier to get a warrant for a store than it is a residence, so 9 months after getting a store, they started raiding our club for one reason or another, and 4 raids within a 13-month period put us in a lot of debt and a little bit of legal trouble. We've been acquitted of every single charge that was laid against us at the Buyers Club. Thank you. It was quite a struggle. It's been over 5 years since the acquittal started to come, and so we're quite relieved to have that done with. On the other hand, it really sunk us into a lot of debt between the court costs and what the police stole from us, and actually fees as well. Our debt grew to about $80,000 and stayed there for about 3 years. And about 2 years ago, we started to get the debt paid down, partly because the club grew so much. Our membership just had the financial ability to pay off our debt. But we also got rid of a few people that were causing problems and stuff. And really, in the last 2 years, we've gone from an $80,000 debt to about $10,000 ahead of the game right now. It's been a heck of a lot of work and really rewarding. At the same time, in the last 2 years, we've dropped our prices a couple times. We've increased various services to the memberships. We've done a lot more for the staff that work there full time with more money and sick pay and all sorts of things. So we've got a really good, stable workforce. We've grown now to 3,000 members. It's pretty intense. With Gail and I, there's 14 full-time people working to supply cannabis out of our store. It's a pretty amazing program.
Thank you!
And something we're very proud of. Thank you. So, like I say, 7 years ago, we started the art auction to try to help with the increasing debt. And now this year we don't have that debt to face. I've actually bought a vehicle. We're starting to deliver medicine all the way up to Courtenay once a week.
Yes.
And it's pretty cool. I just got back yesterday. We spend a night up island in the Comox Valley and then drive back. We're having kind of like Tupperware parties in members' homes where we can meet several people at the same time, so we don't have to deliver to everybody's house up and down the island. So we're slowly finding what we're kind of calling safe houses to do that in. We've actually already rented a storefront, or a store space. It's actually upstairs. It's kind of stuck. But in Duncan, I'm going to have a second store in the Cannabis Buyers Club. I know that's probably the first you heard of it, but yeah, we're coming to your neighborhood here finally. And we're going to be, we got a couple hundred members in the Cowichan Valley, so we could not deliver to them all, that's for sure. So we've got a little space starting probably just once a month, or sorry, once a week in Duncan. We probably won't open January 1st there, but that's coming on. And we're working with other networks to start up facilities in places like Courtenay, where just the other night we had a meeting with their board of directors because they're working out of a little house in Courtenay, and we want to get a storefront in the Comox Valley. We want to get stores basically in every major city up and down the island, and if we don't do it, we'll help somebody else do it instead. It's really exciting to have the financial capacity to go outside of our little bubble here in Victoria that we've fought so hard to protect, and to build, you know, more of these facilities in, well, RCMP territory, which is a little daunting, but nevertheless, there's our friends there. So yeah, it's been really exciting to get out and do more things with the Cannabis Buyers Club. But the struggle still goes on. And a lot of people think the federal government's doing all sorts of things to help license people that are sick, and people think I got a license, and it's not true at all. We're breaking a lot of laws right now, and we'll be forced to do that for quite some time. But there's these medical marijuana access regulations, right? Everybody thinks, oh, I can get a license to grow medical marijuana, or sick people can. There's really only about 4,500 people in all of Canada that have a license to grow pot. We have 3,000 members of the club around the corner here. We're only providing a fraction of the need in this area. According to Health Canada's own statistics, there's about 1 million Canadians that would qualify for our club, thank you, or that have a legitimate medical need. And so it's something that they're only touching, like, you know, a small fraction of the actual need. And their programs don't make a lot of sense. On one hand, if you actually make a cookie from the legal cannabis that you grow, you've made cannabis resin, and you've done something that's illegal. And so, in fact, when I was arrested at the cookie giveaway here 9 years ago, I was eventually convicted of trafficking THC by a jury, actually, because for one, I admitted to the police what was in it, and it tested positive for THC. So really, there's a lot of flaws in the regulations because they only allow for cannabis marijuana, the dried plant. No extracts at all are legally allowed. That's mostly because they want the pharmaceutical companies to control all that, right? They don't want people making their own medicine in the backyard. Where's the money for the Fortune 500 and that, right? So really, you know, that's a big part of the problem here is they're not giving any information about edible cannabis, and how easy it is and how good it is to help people get off anti-inflammatories and antibiotics and muscle relaxants and painkillers and a host of other medications that are being given to them while they're being thrown in jail for growing this plant. And so at the same time, so the government regulations also that you know, they say that you can grow for 2 people now. The rules have eased up. Well, if there's 1 million Canadians that need medical marijuana, having 500,000 personal grow-ops in every old age home and etc. is completely inefficient. The sicker and older you get, the more you need these cookies, and the less you can make them yourself. So the idea of having the hospitals, you know, with facilities that people can bring their plants, so when they come and die, they got their pot plant in the room with them. It's just really not very practical. It might sound really cool, but having everyone growing their own cannabis is not very efficient. And we need to have experts and specialists and, you know, large facilities so the economy of scale can make it so that this